Song Hui's here. Hi, Song Hui. Hi. No, I said hi to Song because she's here. What's your problem?
Wait. Guys, please
I don't
have your fights
know.
outside of Solid Online, please. Ryan is not connected yet, Matt. Jacob! What's up? Wait, I think Jacob's not there yet. Oh no.
Yes, you are right. That's the. I think he's still wrestling with the angel. That's why he hasn't opened his camera. Song.
Oh my goodness. Jacob, please reveal yourself.
Hey Jacob, we want to see the angel also lah. Very curious. Very curious.
Oh, Ryan, what's up, Ryan? Are you there?
Hello.
Hey.
Oh my god, yay! What's up, bro?
Yeah, hello.
Hey, what happened to your voice? Why suddenly it sounds very bass? Like bass.
Normal.
No, that's how Ryan always is.
Really? Ah? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta talk to Ryan more like that. Yeah. No, wait, you don't say hi to Ryan?
What?
Sorry.
Wait, sorry. I couldn't hear you guys. What?
I said, why you don't say hi to Ryan?
So why I don't say hi to Ryan? Hi. Yeah, I said hi to Ryan yesterday also lah. We meet every day. Okay, cool. Hey, Jacob is here. Hi, Jacob. Hi, Mildred. Hello.
Mildred! Oh my god! I heard you got into Chinese orchestra, dude. What? Yeah, but I don't know what instrument. Congratulations. Oh my goodness.
Right. Yeah. I think it's a bit laggy also.
Oh, who's laggy?
Jacob, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
How is the week, guys?
Oh, Mildred.
Mildred.
Oh wait, sorry.
Sure.
Wait, Mildred can hear yours.
Who?
Oh, Mildred's laggy too. Oh, it's okay, Mildred.
Oh my god. Everyone is lagging. I should lag too. Okay. While we are lagging, we can talk about how was your week. Hey, give me a sec. I'm laggy. Online calls are laggy all the time. Ha 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 ha. Yes. What do you mean what by what? Okay, here it's heavily pouring, is it? Yeah, it is heavily pouring.
Oh.
So I got wet in the rain also. Just now.
That's good.
And I came
That's
here.
good to know.
Aiyo. Yeah, just now I said congrats. Right. Hey, you guys sudah makan ah? Okay, Jolene is makaning. Saya belum makan. Oh, the rest makan already. Okay. Ini.
Then why are you eating?
Rice and broccoli. Oh my
Rice
god,
and
broccoli!
I hate broccoli, Julie.
What? Why? Sharon,
Why?
Why?
It's so green.
I can see why you were unhappy as a child. You were deprived of the goodness of broccoli. I can see that.
Sean.
Oh, you don't hate on me. Am I the only one who hates broccoli here?
No. You are the only one.
I like all the vegetables.
You eat all the vegetables?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm forced to eat lah. If not, my mom will kill me, man.
Yeah, I threw away my
Exactly. Oh my
Exactly.
god, Jolene, I relate. Actually, all the vegetables are least offensive lah. Come on.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, Sean?
Sean. Hey, man. How are you?
Hey, hi.
How are you? How was your week, Sean?
Amazing lah. Amazing, yeah.
We were talking about broccoli and then you came in. Do you like broccoli also?
No, I hate it. I hate vegetables.
Okay, Sharon got a partner.
Yes.
I hate vegetables.
Hey,
This is my wife's biggest problem with me. Yeah.
Hey, we Indians cannot hate vegetables,
because
one.
the only thing I eat is chocolate. I don't eat vegetables. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Sean.
That's why my body shape has changed.
Okay. Right.
Actually, I actually when I was young, like, I wanted to study chemical engineering because I wanted. You know, Nutella is actually
God created
it's made by the
broccoli
same
good.
company that
Yes.
make, yeah.
Ah.
But the thing is, they don't have. That's the only thing.
Wait.
You know, I was.
Sean, we can't really hear you. You
Yeah,
sound
you were a
like
bit
you're underwater.
muffled and I think you are not to say laggy lah, wonky lah. Maybe your line is a bit choppy also. But your video
That's
is okay.
Yeah.
It's just your audio.
That's because you don't eat broccoli, Sean. Too bad.
Yeah, Edric. Hi, man.
Hello.
Hi, Edric.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Edric, since you're also here, we want to ask you, do you eat broccoli, Edric?
Say you like, huh?
Yeah, I eat all types of food. I'm not a picky person.
Wow, that's cool.
That's how you should be. Good job, Edric. Good job. Hi, Jay.
Oh, Jay's here.
I am in. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Is that your dorm?
Yeah, I'm in Twin Tower now.
Oh, okay, right.
It's
So
in
glad
Tower.
you could join us.
Yeah.
So, how was your week, Edric? Was it fine?
My week, yeah, it was great. Everything went well. I mean, ups and downs, but that's okay. I managed to do all my goals and my achievements by God's grace. So yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Hey, what about you, Jay? How was your week?
What about you, so? Unless you mentioned it earlier. I'm
Sorry,
sorry,
what?
interruption.
Oh, you were asking how was my week, ah? You were asking how was my week or how was my day? Cause
Your week.
oh, my week. I mean, this week just started yesterday lah. So yesterday I went to church and was there the whole time, and spending my time with brothers and sisters, talking about the Bible, reflecting. And then today I slept very late, then woke up very early, then did my stuffs, and then I was spending my what stuff? Okay. I mean, I was preparing for my MC lah, MC script, and then I was doing my assignments a bit, and then I was like, what course am I studying? Oh yeah, I'm studying for electrical power engineering actually. Yeah. So my final exams are next week. Yeah, so I was preparing for that, and then I was just talking, and then I was like, yeah. Then evening came. There was evening, there was morning lah. No, sorry, there was evening and then there was night. Sorry. And then came solid. so I'm here. Oh yeah. Sorry. Yesterday, Nathaniel told me that he doesn't understand science. I mean, no. The context is yesterday. It was our first sermon series. It was our first preaching for our new sermon series on the Book of Genesis. So it was very cool. Then our pastor was preaching on Genesis 1, chapter 1 lah. Yeah, so he was talking a lot of things about science and stuff like that was very confusing. So that's the context that Jolene is referencing to. Wait what? Tanya, analogical day is the right one. Okay, this context is last time I used to tell Sean that I'm a YEC guy. Then he always make fun. YEC means Young Earth Creationist lah. Then yeah. Analogical, sure. Okay. If you come to Genesis, you can also struggle to understand science under God. Yes. Sure. Okay, I'll accept. Whatever Sean says, I'll accept one. Okay. Okay, so since time is going, so I think we can begin our session. So welcome guys, hi, welcome to Solid Online. It's good to see you guys back again here at Solid. So cheers for you guys to making it. Yeah, so before we start, I want to ask you guys something. Did any of you saw what Solid Online posted in your Instagram recently, very recently? Something that Solid Online posted on the Instagram. Did you guys see? Oh yes. Do you guys wanna shout out? What was it? What was it about? Do you guys remember? My reflection. Oh, yes. Joey is right. Yes, true that. So, so it was basically my New Year's resolution. So this is the story, this is the context. So I was one day reflecting on Colossians, then from the early chapters. Then I was like, this was exactly before New Year was about to begin lah. So then I was looking at the text. Then I was like, okay, what should be my New Year's resolution? And then I was like thinking hard about it. And then when I came across these verses from chapter 1, especially verse 10 to 12, then I realized that actually Paul prays for the church of Colossians, right? And then in his prayer, he expects them, he expects them to do something. And that is what we see in the first 4 participles lah. I think this is what we also saw from our, if I'm mistaken, from our first session of Solid. I think Sean was preaching on Colossians 1 to 18. And then we were looking at all these things. Then I realized that these verses are actually, this text is very good for me to use as resolution, a New Year's resolution, rather than me finding from somewhere else, right? Then I was like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? So he says stuff like, the first participle is, he says bearing fruit in every good work. And then the second one is, I think the post is up there, you guys can look at it. Yeah, and then the second one is increasing the knowledge of God. And then third one is being strengthened with all power. Then the fourth one is giving thanks to the Father. So I was trying to assimilate and integrate that into my context, especially in my campus ministry and Solid Online, especially my CF. Yeah, right. So I was like trying to think about it from this perspective. So then I realized that I should actually heed Paul's prayer and command, and I just apply it for Solid Online context. So then my resolution 1 was like what I wrote there, to bear fruits in all my efforts for Solid Online. So that would look like me maybe reading the Bible with people and making more disciples for Jesus. Then the second one was based on the second participle, which is to increase the knowledge of God. I wrote there to know my Lord more personally in order to serve Him well in Solid Online. So maybe that is more like me being equipped by reading the Bible more, so that I have this knowledge, so that I can actually serve Him. Because knowledge of God is actually to serve Him. So that. Then the third one is resolution 3, which comes from being strengthened with all power. So you see, this one, I think I remember we were speaking about this. I don't know if you guys still remember where we were. I think in Q&A session, someone asked about what is the importance of passive and active verbs. I still remember. Then Sean forced me to answer the question. Then I was like, yeah. I mean, then I noted the importance of the passive verbs, right? So in this context where Paul Paul is saying that being strengthened is not an active thing but a passive thing, right? So you see, we are dependent on God. Then that was very heartwarming and heart touching for me, is because it's not my efforts lah. It's God's grace and mercy that actually strengthens me. So that is why I wrote resolution 3 as to toughen myself with God's power to be dependent on Him in order to be as solid as His Son. So that would look like that. So practically, that would also look like for me by encouraging my brothers and sisters at Solid Online in the midst of sufferings. So in the midst of sufferings, our only hope is Christ, because it is by Christ that God actually strengthens us. And that power, Paul would say that power resurrected Jesus from the dead. So that is why we can have hope and we can trust in God's power. And then finally, for my resolution 4, it's based on the fourth participle, which is giving thanks to the Father. And that would look like for me to be grateful in expressing my thankfulness to God that He has made known His Son to us through ministries such as Solid Online. So then the action plan for me would look like I would pray for God to keep nurturing and keep planting ministries such as Solid Online. So this was my reflection, and then I came up with this resolution. Then I thought, okay, I should share it with my brothers and sisters at Solid Online. And then we made a post, and then we posted it. So I hope that this wouldn't just be my resolutions lah. You guys can actually also use this as your own resolutions for this year. I think it's apt and fitting because we are doing the Colossians series, right? So then you guys, if you guys like don't have resolution, you guys can just borrow mine. Don't worry, I won't be upset. After all, this is Paul's word. So you guys have license from Paul to use it. Don't worry. Okay, so yeah. So that's it about my resolution. Okay, right now, what we are going to do is we are going to do some things differently. Our order is going to be different a bit. So right now we are going to go into our Bible reading session. So as you all know that we are actually halfway past into the Colossians series. So last week we continued hearing the word preached from verses 6 to 15 of chapter 2 by our staff worker Sean. So for today we'll be looking into verses 16 to 23 of chapter 2. So I hope you guys still remember that from last week's Sean's talk or preaching, we saw that Christ is actually sufficient for us in everything and for everything. And then I remember these words of Sean that really struck me, which he said that if we have nothing, we have Christ. But if we have Christ, we have everything, because He's Lord of everything. So it wouldn't make sense that we would set our hope in something that serves Christ and that is subservient to Him. So we saw from verses 8 like philosophy, empty deceit, and human tradition, right? And because these things in and of themselves, they actually have no value, and they are useless apart from Christ. So this is why precisely Christ is enough and sufficient for us. So that we can see from verses 9 and 10 actually, because Paul says that we have been filled by this Jesus who is actually God Himself in flesh. So if we are complete in Him, the question is, or rather, it doesn't make sense for us that we would be restless and that we would actually attempt to rest in something else that is not Christ. And that is why we are called and ought to stay loyal to this Christ, as we can see from the imperatives of chapter 2. So imperatives just basically mean like an urgent command. So that is what we have been looking actually from last week's passage. So even today's passage, we're going to keep looking into Paul's imperative that he continues from last week, or sorry, from the previous passage. So right now, I'm going to invite the Bible reader to come up and read for us today's passage as Paul continues his imperative in order to get to know the text beforehand, so that we can prepare ourselves for the preaching later. I just want to, just take a note that the passage for today will be read from the NASB 1995 translation, because our preacher Sean will be actually using this translation for his preaching later. So I highly encourage you guys to turn to this NASB translation, or you guys can actually just Google and then just type Colossians NASB 1995 translation, and then you guys can just use the text for the Bible reading. Yeah, so the Bible reader can come and read.
Hi guys. You can have 2 minutes to just grab your text if you haven't gotten it already. It's actually Colossians 2 verses 16 to 23. Colossians 2 verses 16 to 23. Everyone good? Everyone okay? Okay. Then I'll start then. Reading from the NASB version 1995. Starting from verse 16. Therefore, no one is to act as your judge in regard to food or drink, or in respect to a festival or a new moon or a Sabbath day, things which are a mere shadow of what is to come, but the substance belongs to Christ. Let no one keep defrauding you of your prize by delighting in self-abasement and the worship of angels, taking his stand on visions he has seen, inflated without cause by his fleshly mind, and not holding fast to the head, from whom the entire body, being supplied and held together by the joints and ligaments, grows with a growth which is from God. If you have died with Christ to the elemental principles of the world, why, as if you were living in the world, do you submit yourself to decrees such as, do not handle, do not taste, do not touch, which all refer to things destined to perish with use, in accordance with the commandments and teachings of men? These are matters which have, to be sure, the appearance of wisdom in self-made religion and self-abasement and severe treatment of the body, but are of no value against fleshly indulgence. And that was Colossians chapter 2 verse 16 to 23.
Alright, so as we read together from today's passage, right now let's discuss about this question, which is it ever okay to coax someone to do something so long as your motives are for the person's godliness? So coax means just persuading someone to do something lah, or you can force someone to do something. So what we're going to do now is we're going to break off into our smaller groups and discuss about this question. So see you guys in a while. Bye bye.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Jolene,
God,
do you want
look
to
at
come?
Sean is there.
Oh my god, Sean, what's up? Okay,
Why are
I'll
you
stop.
shocked that I'm here? Where else would I be?
Where
I
else
don't
would
know.
I?
No, you were online and then
Hey,
you were
where else
there,
would
and
we
then-
be?
Where else would it be? What?
Probably in
What
a
was
chocolate shop. Probably in a chocolate shop.
Oh, probably in a chocolate shop.
it? Chocolate shop.
Yeah, factory. Yeah.
Oh,
whatever.
That is the career I wish I had lah.
No,
maybe,
Sean.
maybe it's a good thing I didn't become a chocolatier, man. You know, maybe I wouldn't have entered ministry or
I
something.
mean, yeah, you're already a chocolate boy. So
Yeah.
you can, and you like chocolate. Yeah. Okay, welcome back, guys. How was your discussion groups actually? What did you guys discuss about? Maybe some of you can share your thoughts. I think my discussion group was good. Yeah, maybe before I ask my group, maybe some of you guys can share actually. So is it okay to coax someone? Is it okay to persuade someone? Sharon is shaking her head. Mine also, my group members, go ahead. Okay, sure. Hey, who in your groups, Nancy? Mildred, Jolene.
It was me, Mildred,
Ah.
Jolene, and Sunghui.
Wow. Okay. Mildred throwing you under the bus.
is saying Sunghui because she was convinced by Sunghui.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, come on, Songwei, coax us. Can you persuade us? Persuade us with what you persuaded Mildred. Or maybe some of you can share what or maybe Mildred you can share what did you agree with what Songhui shared. Eh, do you want to share?
Don't be shy.
It's okay. It's just us.
Yeah, because that's when you see us every week.
Hello.
Hello.
Like
Yes.
Songhui shared that and when you want to coax anybody, you need to there's explanation needed lah. Then your what your intention based on is also important, and then the content that you're coaxing someone is also important. You need to explain about all of this when you are coaxing someone, when you are thinking about someone. Yeah, I think that's what she said.
So okay, I don't know if I got it rightly, but what were you saying looks like you can persuade someone as long as that person actually agrees lah. When you properly explain to the person, is it? Did I get it rightly or should? I don't know.
So you can basically persuade someone. So as long as your intentions, your manner, and oh my god, what's the other one?
Tension,
manner, intention.
Important one.
Sorry, what?
Substance. But what you actually want to persuade them of.
Yeah, the content,
content.
Yeah. So this tree is good, then you're good to go.
Oh.
You can persuade anyone in the world, yeah.
What if that person? Okay. I think in my group also almost everyone agreed that you can persuade someone, but then I was also asking them that, what if that person doesn't want to be persuaded? What about the person's volition? Like volition means your power to use your own will lah. You actually want it. Is it okay then to persuade someone even if that person doesn't want to be persuaded? Yeah. So does it not matter? Yeah. And then we were discussing about it. Then the breakout rooms ended. Boom. Then we are here lah.
Actually, I'm interested to know, does anybody feel that they have been unfairly persuaded or coaxed into
Doing something.
Yeah, doing something.
Okay. could be anything lah.
Yeah, I mean especially with respect to Christianity lah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like people pressured you to like, oh, like last time when you were small you cannot read Harry Potter because Harry Potter got magic
Correct.
got wizards lah. Got right, sure got one.
Yeah, I remember.
You are?
Yeah. Last time my parents were they were very anti Harry Potter.
Oh.
They were like, hey, Harry Potter is magic, witchcraft, it's of the devil.
Actually, same for me lah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not like an Indian thing, right?
No, I think it's a very pious Christian thing lah, most probably lah. But guess what? Me and my sister were we were crazy of Harry Potter despite of what our parents thought. We are Potterheads lah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean things like that lah. Things like
Correct.
how Harry Potter is demonic. You shouldn't get tattoos. You shouldn't drink. Maybe that one has some reason to it lah. Shouldn't drink lah.
Shouldn't smoke lah.
Shouldn't smoke lah. Yeah, but please don't smoke lah. I don't know. I mean no lah. No, not because of Christianity, but like why would you wanna burn your lungs, right? Okay. Yeah.
Burn my lungs for Jesus.
Okay, enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Right.
No, nobody has any experiences.
Wait, I just want to clarify what I said earlier. I didn't say it's about intention, but basically last time when... Wait, why are you laughing?
No, just go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, I think I'm lagging.
No, I think now it's
No,
fine.
you're fine. You're fine.
We can hear you now.
We can hear you.
What is it?
Oh, hi,
Oh.
Vanessa.
Hi, Vanessa. Hello. we are in the midst of sharing our discussion. Yeah, go ahead, Song.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying earlier in the breakout room that my mom used to force me to go to church or like force me to be a Christian, but she didn't ever explain why. And I asked her like, why should I be a Christian? She's like, oh, you just should be, don't ask. Yeah, so it's like she kind of had right intentions, like she wanted me to be a Christian, okay, but then there was no substance to what she was saying lah. There was no content.
Right.
Oh man. So did you become Christian?
It looks like
No,
she
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't become a Christian
Oh,
from her.
Okay.
thing.
Okay, so it had a negative impact on you, lah. You would say.
What do you mean negative feedback?
No, it's in like because she told you that that's why you didn't become Christian at that point in time, lah.
Oh yeah, because there was no like no substance lah to what she was saying lah.
Right.
It's just like just do it, right? Just like tradition or like just follow. Yeah. Don't think about it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I remember pretty much the same thing for my family. The thing about tradition and everything. I don't know if whether you or the rest can resonate what we're saying.
Yeah.
But like a big thing for me was, I mean, it wasn't Christianity, but like my grandmother would like fast every like once a year for I don't know if you all know this. It's a period called Lent.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the period. It's like 40 days before Easter, right?
Yeah.
So she would fast every time for Lent, but she'd be the only one in my family doing that. And during those 40 days, every time she give me like a muka masam because I would be eating in front of her. And then when I asked her why she was fasting and everything and why she was upset with me, she told me that if I didn't fast, she was scared for me because she was worried for my salvation lah, basically. Yeah. And then she was basically worried that I wasn't being a Christian and things like that. And then when she told me that, I felt quite hurt. So actually for Song it was opposite, right? She didn't want to become a Christian. But for me, I felt like she got hurt. And then I tried to fast, but I only fasted for one day because I couldn't tahan already. So after that, I just kept eating. And by the way, fasting for one day is not fasting. That is just waiting for your next meal. So yeah, that didn't work out in the end for me lah. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think the question is phrased. How's it phrased again? If you have good motivations, right? Yeah, I mean, for me, I think motivations. I mean, sure, we can have good motivations and good intentions about what we want to do with people. I mean, I think most people who try to do these things, they don't mean it in a mean spirit, perhaps, you know. But good intentions aside, I think even looking back at my own experience, I mean, with hindsight, I think that what she was doing, and I think what she was describing, and a number of you too, I think I would call that nothing less than spiritual bullying, basically. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I think that's quite pertinent to today's text, in fact, which is why we discussed the question. So, yeah, maybe I'll pray.
Yeah, I can.
Then
We
I'll
can start. Yeah, sure. Cool. Can.
Father, we thank you for providing us this avenue to meet on Solid Online. Despite we are meeting in different places, meeting virtually, the difficulties with that, to go through your word. There could be no greater subject than what we're going to do today, in fact every week. May we define our lives by what we learn from Colossians, that we love Christ, we know Christ, we serve Christ, we worship Christ, we desire Christ, and that we want to live our lives for Him, Lord. May we be, as we gaze into His glory, be transformed to look like Him, and we really ask for nothing more than that, Lord. Christ is all and in all. In His name we pray. Amen.
Alright.
Yeah. Okay. So, telling already. Okay, we back lah.
We'll be back.
Yeah. Will not be copy squared. Right? Yeah. Yeah. So I think going back to what I was saying about spiritual bullying, I think probably I should define what that means. I think a broad definition of what I would call spiritual bullying is that it's basically any form of false spirituality that says to you, Christ is not enough, you know. And in fact, if you remember what we did last week when we did Colossians 2:6, verse 6 to 15, we saw, I hope you remember, we saw that the gospel is Christ is enough, right? And in fact, I think spiritual bullying is not saying that you don't need Him. In fact, false teachings, if they're smart, they will never say that you never need Him, right? No one will ever try to sell you that kind of false gospel lah. But what people might say is in fact that you need Him plus other things too. So I think today's text of Colossians 2:16-23, I think it is really just part 2 of what we have learned about Christ's sufficiency in the last Solid Online last week. And I didn't accidentally choose the word bullying, to describe what is going on here. I think some of us have been bullied in some way or another before in our lives, right? If you haven't been bullied, probably you might be the bully, maybe lah. Anyway, so maybe when we think of bullying, this might be the image that we might think what bullying looks like, right? Yeah, you can show the. Is it on the screen?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it's not appearing for me. Oh, okay. Then maybe this. Yeah. So, okay. I don't know. I Googled for. I don't know why the kid is black. Okay. I just Googled images of bullying. I'm telling you, all the images, like half of them at least, they are black kids lah. Okay. So I'm not sure what kind of statement that's making, but that was not intentional. But this what we think of bullying is, right? Making fun of people, pressuring people, being mean to people, in fact. So you look at this picture, you might not think that, this is the conventional view of what bullying is, right? And you might not think that Colossians is talking about this. But then you look again at verse 16. Therefore, no one is to act as your judge in regard to food or drink, or in respect to a festival, or a new moon, or a Sabbath day. I mean, just from the word judge, you can already tell, there's clearly some intimidation, some pressuring, some bullying going on, right? They're saying that, this person hasn't reached a certain level of Christianity yet. The same thing for verse 18. Let no one keep defrauding you of your prize by delighting in self-abasement and the worship of angels. See, going around teaching people that Christ is not enough, teaching people and believing that you need to add things to your life so you can experience God more fully. That is no different from someone defrauding you of your prize. There's no different from a school bully trying to steal your lunch money. No different at all. I mean, of course it's different, but similar forms. It's just that this has to do with life and death. Because when these bullies do that, what they're doing is that they're taking what is most precious in the gospel, which is Christ is enough. And I hope from last week you really do see why that is really the most precious truth you can have in your life. They take that what is precious, that's what's at stake here, right? The pure and simple gospel. That's why if you believe in this pure gospel and if Christ is enough for you, you must say no to this bullying, right? And you must fight back against it when people do it, and make sure you yourself are not part of this system of bullying. But I think one of the things that concerns me greatly, and perhaps some of you, is not so much the bullying that occurs in the world, and of course that concerns me, but I think it's Christians ourselves being bullied, us being bullied on a very massive and effective scale. And the thing about the Colossian Christians that we have been learning about for the past 2 months, they themselves were being incredibly bullied by false teachers. There were certain false teachers who were trying to infiltrate their church and trying to do a lot of damage, right? They were trying to make them feel as if they were spiritually left out, like they were less than necessary, like they were inadequate, like having Jesus Christ was not enough, like they just haven't arrived yet at whatever goal they wanted to reach, like as if there were a lot more things to get in Christianity that they had not even begun to see, feel, or experience. Like maybe they were wrong and somebody else is right. So now this whole letter of Colossians, and I think it's a very important one. In a sense, 16:23, it is an open rebuttal to these false teachers. It restates the basic truth of Christianity at the very start, and it tackles anything that goes against it, which is that Christ is sufficient, right? That's the message. I repeated it multiple times, but I need to say it, right? So he says that in 6 to 8, well, not 6 to 8, 6 to the whole of 6 to 15, right? But especially verse 2 to 6 to 7, right? He states that message so simply, and then he attacks the heresies that would deny it, right? The teachings that would say, yeah, it's fine to have Christ. It's necessary to a certain point, but there's something more, There's something lacking. It's not enough what you have. See, and these poor Colossian Christians, perhaps, we don't actually know, I think, how they responded to them, who up to now maybe thought that Christ is all they need, and that they had everything in having him, that they had received everything in being saved. Now they were being told they were far away from having received what God wanted them to have, that there were more things to seek for, that as if verse 14, the fact that Jesus had erased that debt of sin was not enough, that as if Christ defeating the earthly powers, the spiritual powers in verse 15 was not enough. And so Paul writes, I think, this whole letter to tell them that Christ is in fact all they need. And so I'm just restating a lot of it, what we've already covered last week. But I think as a summary, especially look at chapter 2, verse 10. And I think you have, the summary of what is the first part of this whole book, right? You are complete in him. See? You are complete in Christ. That's the point. There is not anything that is lacking. There's no insufficiency at all. So I think that's the summary of what we did last week. And then now we come to chapter 2, verses 16-23, right? That this small section in the middle part of the book, right? So I think the main mode of how these people were attacking the church was that they were trying to seduce them by, certain false spiritualities, right? Now they presented these false spiritualities as if they were true realities of Christianity. See, but really all they were false, because they could defraud, as verse 18 says, they can defraud Christians of their their prize in Christ. Now the first instance of this is in verse 16. I'll read it again. Therefore no one is to act as your judge in regard to food or drink, or in respect to a festival or a new moon or a Sabbath day, things which are a mere shadow of what is to come, but the substance belongs to Christ. See, these things here, food, drinks, festivals, new moon, Sabbath, they're referring to a number of Old Testament laws that taught God's people before Christ how they were to live a good life under God's rule, right? So there are a number of things, but I think if you can look at Leviticus 20 verses 25 to 26 with me. Okay, Leviticus 20 verses 25-26. It says, "You are therefore to make a distinction between the clean animal and the unclean, and between the unclean bird and the clean. And you shall not make yourselves detestable by animal or by bird, or by anything that creeps on the ground, which I have separated for you as unclean. Thus you are to be holy to me, for I the Lord am holy, and I have set you apart from the peoples to be mine." See, and so this one is mainly talking about I think the food laws, but I think it can be, well, I guess extended to the other things that you saw in Colossians 2 verse 16 as well, right? See, this law here about like making a distinction between unclean and clean, they're not arbitrary and they're not pointless. It's not like completely random that God gave them, but you can see clearly from verse 26 that the primary purpose of these kind of laws was to enable God's people, for one thing, to be set apart, right, to be distinguishable from other people, and also to be able to be clean so that they can worship God, right? In other words, these laws, they defined who you were as God's people. How are you as someone who is under God different from pretty much everybody else, right? And you can see the same for, I think, the Sabbath, right? Deuteronomy 5 verse 15. It says, "And you shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God brought you out of there by a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore the Lord your God commanded you to celebrate the Sabbath day." So you see, even the Sabbath, right, in this sense, I mean, I guess there's a lot more. Of course there's a lot more that you can say about the Sabbath, but at least in this case, you can see it's also to mark out God's people, right? So now I hope you realize that these kind of laws, they're not like bad things, okay? They're not like evil things. They're not random. They're not bad. I mean, how can they be bad since they were given by God? And in fact, they were given by God for, in fact, their own good, right? So these things are not bad. So I think you would naturally ask the question: how did the false teachers in Colossae use a good thing given by God to them? How did they use that to bully the Colossians? See, you understand what I'm trying to say, right? It's like it's like trying to figure out how do you use money to bully people or something good in your life. It's a question worth asking. So I think what is happening is that they were basically saying to the Colossians that you must commit yourself to the religion of human achievement, right? You must think that the gospel is Christ plus your own righteousness, Christ plus your own works, Christ plus achieving whatever you want for yourself, right? Because you notice verse 16, and this verse 16 is Paul's answer to this kind of spiritual bullying. He's saying here, these people, they're trying to bully you with legalism, right? So if you didn't know what legalism was, legalism is the kind of thinking that thinks you can earn your salvation from God if you are well behaved. Like they're trying to judge you on what you eat, what you drink. They're trying to say it isn't enough to know Christ, but you have to know Christ and you have to do something else. But of course you can't go that, and I think I'll touch on this a bit later. Of course you can't go to the other extreme and say, oh, now I can do whatever that I want, right? Obviously that's not where you want to go. go as well. I think we covered this a lot also in chapter 1. But that is not exactly what saves you as a person, isn't it? That's what he's saying. So it's basically they were trying to say the gospel wasn't just Jesus Christ, it's Jesus Christ plus some rules. Right? It's trying to define their Christianity by their ability to keep these laws, to keep these rules. But I think defining your spirituality and Christianity by man-made rules, I think it is not the gospel, and that's what Paul says, right? It's man-made. And in fact, why am I saying it's man-made when, of course, these kind of laws they're given from Leviticus 20 and Deuteronomy 5, right? I mean, God actually gave them. But you look at verse 17. See, in this life, post-Christ, those things that we just read of, right, Deuteronomy and Leviticus, they were nothing but a mere shadow of Christ, who has already come, verse 17. See, notice he says, therefore, in verse 16. See, therefore, no one. See, if Christ has given you complete salvation, which is true, right? I hope you all remember that from last week, right? Verses 10 to 15. He's given you complete forgiveness. He's given you complete victory, right? Everything is complete in him. But if all that is true, you can't let anybody come along and then suddenly come and make a spiritual judgment which is dependent on what you do or don't do as a ritual, right? So especially look at verse 14. Jesus has cancelled out the certificate of debt consisting of decrees. He has nailed it to the cross. See, these systems, these ritualistic systems, these decrees, as we saw last week, they ended at the cross. He forever destroyed it. And since he has gained complete victory once and for all over the system, we have no need to think that it's Christ plus these things. No, it's just Christ. He has, in that sense, set us free. I mean, it would be ridiculous to imagine that the Lord Jesus has opened the gate of our prison, set us free, only to put us in another cell, right? That would be foolish to think that way. That's why Paul is telling these Colossians, don't be tricked, don't be fooled, don't let anybody make a spiritual judgment on you on the basis of your external behavior. Don't let anybody evaluate your spirituality on that basis. See, the problem with this kind of evaluation of spirituality in your life is that I think following this kind of logic, right, the fact that it's Christ plus doing other stuff, right, basically, the problem with having that kind of thinking, I think, is that somebody who's not a real Christian can qualify, at least on the outside, right? I mean, think about it. If you can actually qualify if it's based on Christ plus or some other stuff, right? At least partially, right? I mean, it isn't that true Christians won't manifest these behaviors and these things that I think I'll touch on later. But I think people who are fake can always conform to externals, right? And that doesn't make a very good way to judge in the first place, because anybody can fake doing things. See, there are Christians who perhaps, the example we talked about just now, Harry Potter is demonic, don't have a tattoo, or fast, or whatever else, right? And say that this person is not Christian, this person is a carnal thing. But I think just by evaluating that, of course you can smoke cigarettes and still be an ungodly person by doing that, but it's not just by the sole basis of that, right? That's not the way to evaluate or judge someone's spirituality. That is what Paul is saying, right? Look at verse 17. That is the point. These things are a shadow of what is to come, but the substance belongs to Christ. The reality is Christ. See, all of those laws which we saw just now, they were just a shadow, right? The whole point here was that the false teachers, they were trying to convince these people that Christ was not enough to save. They were trying to deny what we learned like a month ago or something about the preeminence of Christ. That's what it really was in the end. They're denying not just the work of Christ, but actually who he is too. And that's the worst kind of lie there is. If you think about it, why were the false teachers, why do you I mean, this is an exercise perhaps, but why would you think the false teachers, they were so hard up about teaching this stuff, right? And why would people be so willing to accept this kind of false gospel? Why are we so keen to say, hey, if I read Harry Potter, that must be demonic? Why are we so keen to add stuff to the gospel? Christ is enough, but why do we keep adding unnecessary stuff to it? So I think one big reason for this, probably, I guess, is novelty, right? So novelty is, I can't remember the exact definition, but maybe someone can send it if you don't know what it is. But novelty, right? You just have some sort of desire for something new all the time, right? You just want to move on to the next new hip thing, right? But of course, Paul, I think he's not trying to make fun of people who are genuinely trying to be Christian and live like Christ. That's not really the point here. Right? He's not saying you shouldn't be doing all these things. You can sleep with a non-Christian. You can do whatever you want. That's not his point here. But what he's doing here, he's trying to challenge their method of achieving salvation, right? Of achieving righteousness. He's saying that system, it doesn't work, right? Obedience to a set of rigorous rules, they might earn you some reputation for holiness, but I think in the end it is totally ineffective in dealing with the depravity of sin, right? This thing what we learned last year about from Colossians 1:21-23, we are alienated from and hostile towards God. That is a spiritual problem. That is a heart problem. That is a problem that's inside you. That cannot be solved by just doing things. That only can be solved by God Himself, Jesus Christ. With so another thing, and besides the novelty, I think another reason why perhaps people might feel drawn to this by saying, oh, if I don't watch, sorry, I keep using the Harry Potter thing. I think that's a fasting lah. Fasting with Harry Potter lah. That's I mean, from the that's why I was asking you all. I actually want to know what kind of things you've experienced. But the reason why perhaps people do the Harry Potter thing or the fasting thing is maybe these things, they offer a sense of security, I think, right? These sort of addiction and dependence on these kind of laws, they're like religious training wheels, right? They're trying to stop you from tipping over. That's why we find security in our own efforts, in the things we do. But that exposes us, because you must see that your security and your assurance isn't in those things. It isn't even anything else but Jesus Christ. That's why these training wheels, if you follow the analogy, these training wheels, they are confining, right? They're stopping us from seeing Christ. See, Christianity, Jesus Christ, He offers a more radical and far more effective solution to our God-shaped problem. Because in the end of the day, what we have is a God-shaped problem. Remember Colossians 1. Jesus Christ truly deals with the problem of human nature, with all our sin, with our dark hearts, with our terrible consciences. He deals with it with verse 14, nailing it to the cross. And that's the only thing that can work. In Colossians, right, being in Christ and holding fast to the head, which is Jesus Christ, it is the only thing that will bring salvation. It is the only thing that will grow you, and it is the only thing that will change anybody's life. See, this whole letter of Colossians, going back to what I was saying, if like you have a sort of like a DIY set of religion that puts a DIY religion where it's Christ plus legalism or whatever, it puts yourself at the center. And I think because of that, it is therefore doomed to failure, right? But the letter of Colossians says, especially verse 15, right? It declares to us that Christ has already accomplished all that we might attempt to earn by our own efforts, seriously, right? If you have died with Christ to the world, to the world, that's all you need. And in verse 18, he goes even further, I think, right? Let no one keep defrauding you of your prize by delighting in self-abasement and the worship of angels, taking his stand on visions he has seen, inflated without cause by his fleshly mind. So I think here how this false spirituality was expressed is through the false teachers giving false promises that they could experience God through what they were selling, right? Which is here it's called self-abasement and the worship of angels. See, what I think we have in verse 18 is a warning against a false view of worship, right? Which is the false teachers, they were trying to teach people that they need to experience this false view of worship, right? And if they don't have these experiences, they're not first-class Christians, basically. So what were these experiences? So I think, well, one of them you can see clearly is the worship of angels, right? That's pretty clear. I think you guys understand it. I mean, that's just downright idolatry, because it's a worship of something that is not Christ, right? And as for the self-abasement there, I think some of you might know it as asceticism, right? ASCETISM, asceticism, right? Which is basically abstaining from the world's pleasures, right? Or someone who lives a life of self-denial, basically, right? Someone who sells everything and then goes and live in a monastery, something like that, right? Of course, even like something like self-abasement, asceticism, I think there are a couple of forms. This is the first one might look like this. Yeah, the next one. Is it there? No, not there. The one with the poor man who's living is the homeless guy, basically. It's the second picture on the deck. Yeah. Can I? Yeah, that one. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is just a painting of what that might look like, right? We're denying yourself, living with dogs. I guess some of you might find that attractive, but I don't know about that. But basically, it's that kind of life. Well, that doesn't look like a monastery, but basically, that's a life of poverty, a life of self-impoverishment, a life of just denying yourself of the world's pleasures, right? So that is one form. Another form, okay, by the next picture is quite, it's a bit gory, so I just some fair warning here, in case you guys can't take that. Sure, yeah. Yeah, so this one is the, okay, actually there was probably more worse pictures I could show, but this one is at least the least, it's not too bad, I think. Where you're actually physically, I mean, basically the point of this is actually to show that, you're physically hurting yourself. I mean, just look at this picture here, right? Now you look at this picture here, and you think about what Paul said in verse 18. Delighting in self-abasement. Now you look at this picture, how does that look like? Delighting in anything. If you all did that, could that be delighting in anything? I don't know. I really doubt that any of you would delight in that. I think at the start, right? Then what does delighting mean then? Right? I mean, think about it. If you're delighting in an abasement that looks like, I don't know, either the first or second picture, if you're so-called delighting in things like this, now is that true humility? Is that true? Abasement is just something to do with humility, basically, right? Is that true humility? Is that truly being humble? When you're doing these things that apparently are hurting you and putting you down, you go away, live in poverty, and all that kind of stuff. You're supposedly humble and things like that. You're supposedly abased, but you're delighting in it. Is that true humility? Or is it, as Paul says in verse 18, is it being inflated without cause by his fleshly mind? See, they delight in their own self-abasement, right? They're basically happy to be humble. Their own humility thrills them. I'm so proud to be humble. I think the Gen Z term for this is humble brag, right? Yeah, I think correct or not? No, humble brag is a term. It's a term. I know Gen Z lingo more than y'all. It's a term. I'm serious. I looked it up. Humble brag. No, it's basically like brag. You put the word humble and the word brag together. It's called humble brag. Yeah. God, I remember I looked up on Urban Dictionary before, so it must be correct, right? Okay, anyway. Now, when you're happy about your abasement or your humility, I don't think you've actually got that, right? when you're overjoyed to tell people, oh, hey, I really abased myself today, I don't think you've achieved what you just said, right? It's a kind of reverse pride that doesn't actually make any sense at all. It is definitely not the kind of Christianity we've been seeing Colossians 1, where it's like, you know you're nothing compared to Jesus. You know that you are the lowliest of the low. Think of Colossians 1, 21, 23, right? You're the lowliest of the low, and it's such a wonderful thing that actually Christ, who is preeminent over everything, has exercised lordship over you. So this self-abasement, I think it is more so to do with satisfying men's taste rather than really being humble or anything, right? These kind of people, especially think of the second picture, they would rather stick hooks in them than give up your own sins. They would rather do that. They would rather hurt themselves. Especially for me, I've actually seen this kind of thing because I come from Indian culture. So especially I live near Batu Caves. I see this kind of thing all the time. Actually, maybe I should have just taken the picture of Batu Caves, right?
Yeah.
But actually, I probably should have done that. But I hope I should have taken a picture of that. What if I totally forgot about that? But I think for those of you who know about this, maybe y'all can just Google where they like stick the thing through their cheek. They carry penance to all the way up and down Batu Caves, right? Yeah. So I maybe for me I'm quite new to this, but I think you guys should be aware of this too. These kind of things, this kind of search for penance and all that, they would rather do all that than give up their sins, right? Because those kind of things, they're just indulging in the flesh, and they're also deceiving the mind about their true condition of their alienation from God. Okay, and then I think show them the next one as well. This is another expression of it. I mean, just in case you all thought that this is outside Christendom. So even within Christianity, there are people who I think still practice this kind of thing. Is that? Oh yeah, so this is like, okay, no, this is not Jesus Christ. This is not a Jesus Christ. This is people reenacting the crucifixion. Okay, this is taken from the Philippines. They do it every year. It's especially popular among, I think, Catholics especially. And of course, this is probably I mean, they're not trying to teach people the gospel. They're trying to actually experience what Jesus Christ experienced. So this kind of thing is not outside Christendom. I think it's very much alive, even in us as well. Now, at this point, maybe you might be wondering whether any of this is related to you, since I think you may not be worshipping angels or sticking hooks in your back or crucifying yourself, apparently. But remember, it's not just about angels. It's not just about self-abasement. It's not just about crucifying yourself like that. Ultimately, what these things are trying to teach is that they're putting experience above Jesus Christ. That's really what is at stake. So you might think those pictures you just saw, they're just like out of this world and unrelated to you. But then something like this might be an experience for you too. Next one. Okay, so I'm not saying this kind of thing is by itself bad or a negative, but if you're looking for an experience in Christianity, when you go to church, when you worship apparently, what are you actually looking for? Are you actually looking for Jesus Christ? Or are you looking to feel something? So it's not even just, I mean, this kind of thing is not restricted to a certain kind of mode of modern experience, but it's even something perhaps more traditional like this. Sure, yeah. Can't see that. Candles, right? This is the candles one? The candles, yeah. So for me, actually, I grew up in a kind of background where you would seek this kind of experience where you go to church to light a candle, then you feel at peace, and then you sing a psalm. Yeah, it's very peaceful, right? So I remember that's why I like going to church last time. Yeah, so it's not restricted to one kind of thing. No? So it could be anything basically. I mean, experience can be anything, right? But the thing is, if you want experience, I think God, He will give you what you want. See, if you want experience, what you will get is experience. But the thing is, that's all you will get. That's all you will get. See, a religion of the eyes, right? A religion of experience will just leave you dazzled and dazed and amazed. But once all the fun is over, once the hype is done, the feelings have died down, nothing is left. Nothing. All you got to experience, and experience is completely momentary. One day those hooks will fall out of your back. There's only so long you can be crucified on a cross there before your arms get tired. There's only so long you can spend in a concert session like that. Those things are momentary. But remember what we learned in Colossians. We in Christianity, in true Christianity, we have glorious riches to offer only in Christ. Right? Remember Colossians 2 verse 3. They're hidden riches, 2 verse 3. But they're there. And we live perhaps in a society that is more accustomed to eye-catching presentations and instant gratification. But those are things which just confuse you, deceive you, right? In fact, this is what the false teachers are trying to claim. Like they were saying, we have a higher, a broader, a deeper, a greater, a more mystical union with God, right? We have attained a level of Christianity that is unlike anything that you've ever experienced. We have connected ourselves in ways you can't even think of, right? That's why Paul is saying in verse 18, don't let anybody tell you you're disqualified from attaining the prize of Christ. Don't let anybody fool you that way. And of course, in verse 18, what is the prize? The prize is Christ, right? The prize, as it says, is Christ, right? And verse 16, he said, don't let people who say you need to be legalistic and all that condemn you. Here he's saying, don't let anybody condemn you just because you think you have no experience, right? But this idea of false piety and being some sort of spiritual elite, and but actually, can you show me the picture of everybody? Not myself. Yeah, this idea of being a spiritual elite, this idea of having arrived on a higher plane of life of Christianity just because you experience something. What it boils down to, it's not even experience. It's just saying you need Jesus plus something else. See, at the heart of it, as I said at the start, what is the real issue of all these things? It's saying Christ is not enough. That's all it is. So don't be confused by worship of angels or self-abasement or the visions of being puffed up or Sabbaths or laws or food or drink. Don't be confused by these things. I mean, those things, they might not be within your immediate context, but don't be confused. What it's saying is, don't let people tell you Christ is not enough. That's wrong. See, and someone in verse 18, he says, taking his stand on visions he has seen, inflated without cause by his fleshly mind. So see, again, this is just proving what I was trying to say, right? These people, they were trying to say they saw things beyond what they've seen. See, this is very much like bullying. This is very intimidating. Like you feel like you're some sort of second-class Christian, right? That's why he's going through the trouble of all this, right? So believe me, I think one of the worst lies that's going on today is that when you're a Christian, people tell you you haven't got it all and you need to have something else, or you just need to do other things to feel complete. But no, he's saying you have received everything you need in this life. That's what he's saying. Now in verse 19, this is where I think he holds it all together. He says Jesus Christ is the head. He is the one who brings about true growth, right? And there's the head who Jesus contributes to the growth of the body, right? He grows you to maturity. He grows you to true spirituality. So this, you look at verse 19, right? This shows the problem even more of verse 16 and verse 18, right? Paul is saying that their problem, the problem with these false teachers and the problem with people who believe them, is that they do not hold fast to the head, right? They're saying that they're being rebels in doing this, right? Because of course, if Jesus Christ is the head and you don't want him, but you want other people, that is not just foolish. I mean, of course, it's stupid and foolish because you already had everything, you know. People already gave you gold and you went and throw it away. That's what 16 and 18 is saying. But verse 19 is even more. Right? Verse 19 is saying, actually, if you already had Christ and Christ is enough, but you don't want that, you want something else, that is actually complete betrayal, man. That is actually not holding fast to the head. That is being a rebellious member of his body. That is something that should probably scare you, because these bullies, not only are they trying to steal your life, what I hope is most precious to you, what they're trying to do is almost trying to get you in trouble, man. That's what they're trying to do, and that is what I think is really wrong with these things. And even from that also you can see that from verse 19 especially, that this is another form of religion, of, as I said just now, of human achievement, right? And verse 23 especially says, I skip 20 to 22 first. Sorry, I lost my page in the script. Sorry, verse 23, it says, these kind of things, they are false appearance of wisdom, right? They seem like they're worth something, but they're deceptive. See? So people will always say, you need Jesus Christ plus human wisdom. You need Jesus Christ plus some external rules. You need Jesus Christ plus vision and experiences. But the Holy Spirit says, Paul says, the Bible says, it's Jesus Christ plus nothing. And anything less than that is just not just foolishness. So think of verse 23, right? It's not just stupid to do that, but it's downright treachery, right? So the next time somebody says to you, first of all, like the Harry Potter stuff, sure that one is more, I guess, that's part of it as well. But it's not just thinking a bit negatively to know, okay, this is what people are telling me, they're imposing wrong rules on me. It's not just about that, right? It's more like when someone asks you, what does the gospel offer me? What does the Bible offer you? You must only say Jesus Christ. Right? That is the only thing that the Bible offers. Complete salvation in Him, complete forgiveness, complete victory, complete sufficiency. Because to have Him, verse 19, is to have everything. And not to have Him is to have nothing. So the reason why if we have Him, we have everything is, I think, primarily because of verses 20-23. Right? If you have died with Christ to the elementary principles of the world, why, as if you were living in the world, do you submit to the decrees such as do not handle, not taste, not touch, which all refer to things destined to perish with news, in accordance with the commandments and teachings of men? These are matters which have, to be sure, the appearance of wisdom in self-made religion and self-abasement and severe treatment of the body, but are of no value against fleshly indulgence. See, what these verses are saying is that Paul is telling us not to subject ourselves to a dead life, because it's crazy, right? We already died, right? We already died to this life. See, when he says you have died with Christ to the elementary principles of this world, what he means is your identification with Christ's death, it caused you to die to the old world. It caused you to be separated from the world, because, right, remember what we learned last week and also weeks before, right? His body has been removed from the earth. So even though, we are of course we are living on earth, right? But remember last week, right, union with Christ, we have been removed spiritually from this old world, right? We'll see more of that next week in Luke chapter 3. And not just that, Christ's defeat of the evil cosmic powers, right? Think of verse 10, verse 15. He has already defeated the evil bosses of this world. That also shows you this world and everything in it, this whole system that some of us, we just want to keep holding on to. All of that is completely gone, See, the defeat of these kind of powers means that this part of the old world has lost its power, right? Especially it's lost its power over those who identify with Christ's death and resurrection. So that is why Christ, and especially verse 22, right? Traditions and commandments of men, right? See, verse 22 especially, it shows you the idolatry of the whole text today, right? That its focus is on self-made religion, because it focuses on man-made laws rather than Christ. And verse 23, these are matters which have, to be sure, the appearance of wisdom in self-made religion, but are of no value against fleshly indulgence. See, ironically, these false teachings, they try to neglect basic bodily needs to so-called give you some sharper spiritual senses, right? But they cannot do that because their origin is in the flesh, right? Verse 23. They cannot actually spiritually satisfy the body, right? That is why it's completely crazy that anybody want to do this. So I think I said this last week, but remember, especially you read verse 15 and verse 23, the fact that Christ has defeated the evil powers, and also you have died with Christ to the world. These things, they're old, they're dead, they're rotting. Why would we want to attach ourselves to them, right? That would be like us wanting to submit to the Roman Empire or something, or trying to submit to Egypt or the Soviet Union. Basic things that are outmoded. It's crazy for us to want to do that. These kind of things, they not only don't exist, I mean, they are of course still there, but they are dead, right? It's pointless, it is foolish to submit to those things. See, Christ is enough. He has already achieved our salvation. So let's not be bullied or intimidated by these things. So I hope you were encouraged by this text as I was. Not just to, okay, now, okay, I mean, the point of this text wasn't to teach you, okay, the next time someone tells you, hey, don't read Harry Potter, now you know what to say. So I'm not trying to teach you cheat codes, how to answer people who tell you can't read Harry Potter. That's not the point of what the text is trying to say. But it's trying to actually assure you the same point of last week, actually. In fact, that you have everything in Christ. And in fact, that should actually help you fight off temptations, because the real threat is not just in false teachers outside. The real threat is actually inside ourselves, because false teachers wouldn't have a job if people didn't want to listen to them, right? At the end of the day, it's actually our hearts that want to follow these kind of teachings. The reason why these false teachings work is because they're attractive. It's because we actually want to follow them. It's because our hearts say to ourselves, actually, I don't want Christ. I want something else. Right? That is our natural language. So we have to be aware of that. This is not just about being aware of false teachings, but really being aware of our own natural tendencies. Our own natural tendencies to break away from the head, to be rebellious in that way, and just start our own thing. So I hope that this text is encouraging, and I hope that I mean, if you have any more questions, you can ask me after this, but I hope that this text really just gets you to live more of the Christian life which you've already been given, because you died and you rose with Jesus Christ. So let me pray. Father, thank you for our fellowship tonight, for just the opportunity to be thinking about things that we should have been thinking about a long time ago. We are thankful to you that we don't have to be bullied, or we don't have to stand to be bullied. We're thankful that we don't have to wander around trying to figure out what experience is valid, or what we can do that is correct or wrong, or who's right or who's wrong, but that we can just hold on to Christ, that we can just hold on to this word, we can just hang on and know to it that is true. We thank you, Father, that you've told us to be obedient to your word, and not to follow our own experiences or our own desires, our own self-designed worship, Lord. So I pray that you make us biblical. May your word pulse right through us. May the desire to want to only have your Son in us pulse through us, Lord. Work your work in us by the Spirit. Help us to be satisfied that Christ is enough, that Christ is all, and Christ is all in all. Help us see that He is enough to reveal that life is about Him, and there's really nothing else worth doing other than living in His service, Lord. We pray this in Christ's name. Amen.
Hello. Hi guys. Alright. Thank you for the preaching of the word, Sean. So right now we're going to go into our Q&A session. So I believe that earlier the usher had sent the link. Okay. It's sent again.
Can you send me the link also?
Sure. I will. So I'll give you guys like maybe about a few minutes to gather your thoughts and create your questions and then put them in so that we can answer. Alright, take your time. Okay. You want to put in questions also? Put in questions. That's myself. I hope you guys are typing down your questions. Alright, while you guys are doing it, I think we have already few questions in the website. Sorry, in the Slido thing. So I think we can start answering lah. Yeah, if you guys have more questions, keep putting them. Okay, so sorry, hold on. Alright. Okay, we have about 4 questions here. Okay, let's start in the first one. So the first question, an anonymous person asked, so it is not okay to coax someone under any circumstances in the name of Christ, even like getting them to evangelize, join conferences when they don't want to.
No, so I mean, I think that is not what the text was trying to say, or I wasn't trying to say that as well. That you shouldn't like get people to do anything, or that you shouldn't like rebuke anyone or encourage people or anything. If that was the case, then there would be no Christian activity at all. And in fact, if that was true, then I think even the letter of Colossians won't be written. Yeah, I mean, you understand the idea of that, right? I mean, if that was true, then I think most of the, not most, I think the whole Bible also would not be written, especially a letter like Colossians. So the point is not so much don't coax people. Actually, I mean, the word coax, I guess there's a certain negative connotation to it, right? Although I think it just means gently persuade people, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
But I think in our usage there's generally a negative use to that. So I wouldn't use that word coax. I mean, I wouldn't say that we should coax people to do stuff. But I would say that, of course, as you're a Christian, right? If you, for example, like, let's say you're Paul, right? You're Paul and you're an apostle, and the reason I'm bringing up this because this is the letter we're going through, right? So let's say you're an apostle and you see this church that is going through all these dangers of being attacked by false teachers, right? Would you not want to persuade them to see the truth, right? That's what he's doing, right? I mean, maybe, I guess you can call it coaxing, right? Although without the negative connotation.
Right.
But he is trying to persuade them to do something, right? Actually, he's very, very strong about it, right? He writes a whole letter. Somehow he's in prison, man. Like, that's how much he wants to persuade them. The fact that he's in prison and he's writing this letter to them, right? And I also think it's not just to the church, but I think implicitly it is to the false teachers who are trying to get them to follow their teachings, right? He's trying to persuade them to see what the truth is. So I mean, of course, it's okay to do this thing, and it's more than okay. I would say that actually it's part of Christian living. So I'm sorry, I think I didn't get touched much on this earlier, but I think I did mention it just now. Where actually he's not arguing against. He's not arguing for don't do anything. That's not really the point of his argument. He's just saying that Christ is enough, right? You don't actually, these kind of, you have complete, especially think of verses 10 to 15. You have complete salvation, complete forgiveness, complete everything lah. Basically, your completeness is in Him, so you don't need anything else to connect you to Him. But so even the reason why Paul is doing this, writing the letter to Colossians, is not so much to earn his salvation or to enter into like some sort of weird mystical experience with God, right? He's just being Christian, man. He's just being Christian in this. I especially will see this especially through next week, right? In chapter 3. But he is living the risen life, right? He is living a life that is dead to the world and alive with Christ. He is seeking the things of above. Chapter 3, verse 2. He is just being who he is, in other words. So that doesn't mean he's doing these things to merit some sort of righteousness, nor is he saying that you must exactly do these things. But I would say that more than it's not just okay, but I think it's called for, right? But of course, there's things where it goes too far, where it's like also it's quite questionable. Of course, we gave extreme examples like Harry Potter, fasting, secrets like that. This person brought up things like evangelize. For me, like evangelize is I would think a basic outworking of being a Christian, right? Basically, because you're doing discipleship. As for conferences, I guess I'm going to promote a conference later, so I feel a bit weird for saying so. I guess he's a bit biased. As for conference, I guess it depends what kind of conference is it. I mean, for example, like if I actually think a conference is good for your spiritual growth, I would actually say, yeah, you can learn from this, man. This will be actually good for you as a Christian, so you can combat false teaching. Yeah, come for FWC.
Not yet.
Yeah, no, not yet. Too soon. Yeah, so it really depends what kind of conference it is, well. So, yeah, but basically, like, if you think it's good for the person, of course you want to persuade the person, right?
Okay.
Like I said, I think I said it earlier as well. It's not so much about even false teachers. They might have good motivations, right? But the fact that matter is, in the end of the day, it matters whether what you're selling is correct or not. Yeah.
Okay.
If what you're selling is Christ plus something else, then that's not correct. Yeah.
Right.
Motivations aside.
Okay, but I think the person also asked, there's a clause here, like when they don't want to. What about that? When actually they don't want to lah. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess this one is a bit. I'm guessing the person is asking whether we should force people do what they want to do lah. Well, I think as you heard from both the example of Song and me just now. So I start with the practical, then I go to the indicative, if that's helpful to you. First of all, this kind of thing never works, right? No, I mean, really, like, it just pushes people far away. For example, like in Song's case, even for me, so I tried to fast, but then I failed after one day. These kind of things where it's just like forcing people to do things without them understanding anything, doing things against the will. It's a very poor and foolish way of getting people to do what you want anyway. So just by that alone is why would you do that, right? But another thing is also, you never want people to just be practical without understanding and appreciating gospel realities. For example, I would encourage you to even just look at the structure of Colossians, right? He doesn't start with 2:16-23, right? He doesn't just like whack people. In fact, you notice that he doesn't spend much time on even detailing the details of these false teachings, right? I mean, he mentions them like 1 or 2 verses, but he doesn't actually go into them to great detail. He starts saying, okay, here's why worshipping angel A is wrong. Here's why worshipping angel B is wrong. Here's why worshipping angel C is wrong. He doesn't go into that kind of depth of detail because it's not really necessary. Like, well, what is more important for him is to say, actually, Christ is enough. You're adding this to the gospel. That's not really helpful to you. So even in Paul's, how he structures his letter and how he structures his thoughts and how he structures how he wants to persuade them, he starts by reminding them of gospel realities instead of just jumping straight to practicalities. Yeah, not that 16:20. Of course, 16:23, they are not practical in of themselves. That's why for today also I did not like I refer. Actually I did refer to chapter 1 right today. I did. Yeah, so actually it's necessary lah. Oh yeah, actually it is lah. I don't know what I'm saying. Actually it's necessary. Of course you need to read the whole letter in context. Of course you cannot read 16:23. But I think honestly, even if you had 16:23, even 16:23 is not as if it's practical by itself, right? No, of course not. You have especially 20:23. Even 16:18 you already see. Even in verse 17 you already see, right, that the fact that Christ is the substance, man. Right? It's not just like some random practical stuff that you have to do or forcing people to do things they don't understand. In fact, I think he takes great pains to make people understand him. That's why like this letter, I think many of them they've been going to solid groups, right? People today, right? That's why if you notice in our solid groups, this kind of thing is not, I'm not saying the Bible is like, oh, like some really hard thing you have to decipher and it's impossible to understand, but it's not exactly like ABC or so lah, right? He has actually taken pains to give you depth so you can understand and appreciate Jesus, so you don't succumb to these things. Yeah. So now, that was a long answer to saying no. Okay. Don't try to forcibly do things against their will. That's ridiculous. It doesn't work, and it's not the part of the gospel framework of thinking. I think. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay, the next one. Right. So the next one is, but if all the practices are meant to bring you closer to God, why would it be wrong? Example, fasting, prayer.
So first of all, I must clarify that not people might claim an experience brings you exposure to God, but that doesn't mean that what they say is true. For example, like clearly worshipping angels, that one is clearly, as I said, idolatry. That does not. I was trying to figure out this now. I'm not quite sure how people thought that worshipping angels could bring them closer to God. That sounds crazy. But I have a theory. I didn't say this now because I wasn't sure, but maybe I can share it now. Maybe they thought, because even like medieval history, people like they might have had like such a high view of Christ, where it's like they need Christ is so high, or God is so high, they need another intermediary to get to Him. So I think it's that lah, right? So maybe in their mind they're trying to get to God, trying to experience God, but clearly something like that it's just idolatry, like you're worshipping something else. Right. Then the other things like this person said, fasting and prayer, which I think they're not wrong enough for themselves. Oh, sorry, maybe I should get to other things the text first, right? Worshipping angels, circumcision. I don't think circumcision is wrong. Sometimes you have to get circumcised for health reasons and all that, but it's a matter of like whether you think that is going to save you, or somehow that marks you out as God people, because like God people or makes you holy, right? Or the same in fasting and prayer. I obviously I don't think prayer is wrong, right? Since I prayed twice just now. It's not that prayer is wrong. And in fact, of course, I think Vanessa gave a whole sermon on prayer, so I don't want to repeat what she said. These things are not wrong by themselves.
Yeah.
But if you frame it and your whole life is on the basis of it's Christ plus these things, then you got it backwards. For example, I take prayer, right? If it's like, if you're praying because you know that Christ is everything, therefore you pray to Him like I prayed just now, right? Then it's very different from thinking that I need to pray to be saved or something, right? It's a very different framework, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
So it gets wrong when we miss the intentions of these practices, right?
So I think intentions is one, but I do think false intentions, you can see it in the outworkings of their lives, right? For example, like, and of course it actually shows, it's not just about like intentions, I think it really does bleed down into how you live life. For example, like if you think prayer is like some sort of thing that saves you, you might like become a Muslim and then pray like 5 times a day, and then you might have like a certain direction you want to pray to, or then you add stuff like that, so it will lead to practices like that, I believe. And also, if you have kind of intentions, it makes your prayer hollow. And this is just one example based on what this person is saying, but I think I mentioned this now, where when things are focused on external things, they have a unfortunate way of making what you're doing meaningless and hollow, actually. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Oh yeah, by the way, you guys can actually choose to like the questions that you guys want to ask. So yeah, there's an option. So if you guys like and would, then if you guys want a question, then Sean can choose to answer the question. Yeah, just stating that. So okay, the next one is then if Christ is enough, don't I have to join anything extra? So I don't have to join anything extra. You're asking a question. Like
I think I answered
this.
I answered this already.
Kind of feels redundant.
Yeah, I think I answered this already. Unless you think I should add some more.
Why? Okay, maybe why would people think it's redundant when?
So I think if people
yeah.
I mean, let's say that they read 2:6 to 23, and then they start thinking, oh, it's redundant, everything's redundant, I don't need to do anything.
Right.
That is a misunderstanding of Christ is enough, because if Christ is enough doesn't mean like, oh,
you don't
he's
have
enough.
to,
Oh yeah, it's like
you're free lah.
I free to whatever I want. But like Christ is enough means Christ is all, right? So there's a sense where Christ is enough means you are thirsting for Christ.
Right.
Do you understand what I mean? Because like sometimes I think maybe people misunderstand Christ is enough. Christ is enough for them is like,
No
oh, I don't need to do anything already. I can just sleep already for the rest of my life. But actually, Christ is enough means Christ is everything. Therefore, you just have a thirst for Him your whole life. You know, because you're dead in this world. You're spiritually raised. But as we see this clearly next week in chapter 3. But you're living out the Christian life, and you just have a thirst for Him, because everything else. I feel like a bit scared to say this, but almost like you want to be high on Christ, you know. Yeah, if I can put it that way, like you want to be high on Christ. You know, if you understand, not say how addictive Christ is, but I would rather people think about it that way rather than like, okay, I just have an excuse to be lazy now and be languid about my life now. So I think perhaps if people think that way, it's a misunderstanding of what Christ is enough means.
Right.
Yeah. And also if people think that way, I think the person asking this doesn't believe this, probably asking for people who might misinterpret this, right?
Yeah, possibly.
I'm guessing you asked this question. It sounds like a question you would ask actually. So I could
maybe.
It sounds like a net question. But people who might fall into thinking this way, as I said just now, it just exposes the fact that I think they're just looking for excuses. Yeah.
To not
because I feel like sometimes I feel like, should I just put it down to maybe an accidental misunderstanding, right? Or maybe people accidentally misunderstand these things. But actually, I think sometimes it's probably a deliberate misunderstanding. Yeah, that it just exposes what you already want. So you come to the Bible just looking for things to confirm your own opinions, right? Now something is here that, okay, might give you a reason to say, oh, why I don't need to go conference anymore, or I don't need to do Bible study anymore. So it just validates your own presuppositions, I think.
Right.
But when that's not what this is saying, the text. It's saying actually Christ is enough means, especially see next week, you have to thirst for Him, man. Yeah. Because He is enough. In fact, there's nothing else that can satisfy you. So you work hard to get Him all the time. That's why it depends on what kind of conference is it, what kind of conference is it, what kind of Bible study is it, what kind of thing is it. You know, if it's not giving you Christ, then it's not worth your time. But if it's giving you Christ, why would you not want it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like, I mean, Christ is enough means that includes what we do next. It includes what we do next. So which is like these things that confirms to the fact that Christ is actually enough. It's not like, so you're not like saying that we are just free and then that's it, long. So there's an expectation of us to live out consistently. For this Christ being enough lah. Okay. Right. Yeah. Guys, we have to work. Okay, next one. The next one, the person is asking how to talk about this with my Charo friend, means charismatic friends, who is all about experiencing God in miracles and stuff like that. So she has been spiritually bullied, but she doesn't know. So she's not aware lah. So how do we apply? How do we help someone?
It's a simple solution lah. Read Colossians 2:6 to 23 with that person, then all the problems will be solved already. You know, I'm half serious. You know.
Okay, sure.
I mean, actually now half serious. I think I'm serious because I feel like you should. I mean, it's not just Colossians 2, but like it's maybe the whole of Colossians. Maybe it's the gospel. It's reminding them of whatever I think I've been saying. That's how you make this person know. I think.
Okay.
That I mean, first of all, you have to make this person know. By the way, it's not just about charismatism, but it's also like what I was talking about. Even the kind of background in which I came from, which is more traditional, it's more like candles and stuff like that. Even that also is a form of experience. So first of all, you must actually show that what this person is desiring for is in fact his experience lah.
Right.
If it is lah, I mean, maybe don't presume also, it might not be. But I think most likely it is lah. So if it is, you have to actually make this person aware lah. Because this person might not. I mean, I don't think this person is so self-aware that they know what they're looking for is experience, right? I very rarely met such people, right?
Okay.
A lot of people they live under the guise of I'm actually out for God, right? I mean, I think very rarely people might say anything else. But if it's not true, then you have to work hard to first show that out, and then you have to do this text with them. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, we have to talk to them and then make them think lah.
Talk to them, make them think. That is that's not half conversation. as if they don't think beforehand. No, but I see what you're saying, and actually what you're saying is true. Because I feel sometimes people, I'm not calling them stupid, but I'm just saying a lot of us are not used to reflecting, I think, and just like stopping and think, okay, why am I doing something? So what is it has truth lah. Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Next one. Okay. Is it possible to have a false gospel made of Christ plus Bible learning?
So I think this person is asking plus knowledge, right? Like a worship on. I'm assuming lah. No, because I mean, of course, like you know that, and those of you here from my doctrine series last time with Susu, sorry, Kopi, Susu. So I forgot which one we were at the moment, but with Susu, like the Bible should point you to Christ,
right?
So in a sense, like the question is like, okay, I thought this is Christ plus Christ. You know what I'm trying to say? Is it Christ plus Christ because Bible is Christ? You know what I mean? Yeah. So is it Christ plus Christ because Bible is Christ, right? So is it talking about that? But I don't think the person means that. I think the person just means like hate knowledge, perhaps.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm maybe the person, whoever asked this, can clarify if I misunderstood you. But if that's your question, then I would say that I do think it's possible where you falsely worship knowledge, right? In fact, we did this in Colossians 1:24-25, right? Colossians 2:8, right? We did human wisdom. Of course, the Bible is not human wisdom, but I think there are instances where you over intellectualize things, right? Yeah, I mean, I think that's possible. Yeah, but it shouldn't be the case, because the Bible should be about Christ. Right? In fact, it is about Christ. So, if anything, learning about the Bible, it should teach you more and more that Christ is enough. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's look at this practical question. This one. As believers, how could we explain in what we learned tonight to our friends and loved ones who are indulging in their flesh?
Okay, so I'm assuming when I say indulging in the flesh, the person doesn't mean like the whacking thing, right? No, I mean of course, like if you're trying to convince how's that the whacking thing, because first of all, like you're whacking yourself, so maybe I think the person not asking like literally that. Probably what it means is like the other practices, right? I'm guessing now. So again, correct me if I'm wrong, if I misinterpreted you. So I think the question is similar to the one you asked me earlier about the carol thing. Again, also it's not just about indulging in the flesh, but like I said, it's also showing that it's experiential, and to get them to see the reasons why they want to do that. So I think I covered this just now as well, right? So it could be because of maybe a desire for novelty, a desire for self-achievement, also a sense of security, right? Because if you are indulging in these things, indulging in the flesh, worshipping angels, etc., you're doing these external things, they create a sense of security and false assurance. Yeah, do you understand? I hope you understand what I mean by that. Maybe you don't, but usually people who are like this, in fact, this is all of us, right? All of us have this tendency to do this. We are people of the eyes, right? Especially in our generation. So we naturally want to have confidence in things we see, we feel, we experience, right? So it's perfectly natural for us to do this. It's natural, but it's not right. Yeah, so you just getting them to see that lah. I think that's a good first step. Yeah, then you can proceed in Christ now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. The next one. I mean, just now we were talking about missing the intention of the practices, right? So I think this person is asking then, what is the Christ-centered way to fast?
Okay. I think I honestly can just say that I'm not sure how to answer the question. Yeah, really, I don't, because I think for many years, Yeah, sorry, I think I can't give you a proper answer to this question because for myself, so maybe I share my personal experience. This I have chosen not to fast anymore, lah. Yeah, because I personally have too much of not say trauma, like maybe a trauma with it. So I know that if I were to do it at this point in my life, I would most probably abuse it. Yeah, so I know myself, like I probably just abuse it and think that it's some way of getting me spiritual. I'm not saying that there's no way to do it, but I'm sorry, I really, I mean, with regard to fasting, since I mean prayer and everything else, maybe I can offer an explanation. But with regard to fasting, I think I had, because I feel like I myself am running away too much from it. That's why I avoid it like the plague.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think it might be possible. It might be, but I'm sorry, I can't help you there.
Okay, never mind. Okay, maybe what about prayer and
But prayer answer
other
is
things,
not. Prayer answer is not.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. What
I
else?
mean, but other things like worship of angels and everything, that one is
That one
clearly that one is wrong already, lah. I think. Yeah, that one is clearly like so angled to experience. In fact, yeah.
Okay.
Even things like circumcision and all this, if you're doing it because it's some you want to keep the law, lah. You think it's going to save you, or you think you want to be a Jew, and that one is pretty clear cut, lah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or even like the things like cigarettes. I mean, like cigarettes are not necessarily like like some demonic thing, but I feel like if you want to be wise, why would you want to burn your lungs, right? So yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean it's true, lah. Why would you want to like burn your lungs? That seems quite dumb to me. Yeah.
So then Christians shouldn't smoke.
No, this is not ruling from the Pope or this is not like some my ruling to you to follow from now. This is like based on my knowledge of human biology, like what, and like people whom I've seen who have died of lung cancer don't smoke, lah. But I wouldn't say it's hindering your spirituality by itself. Yeah.
Okay.
Different things.
Okay. Alright. Okay, next one.
Maybe one more, then you all should go and discuss with me.
Yeah. Maybe one or two more. Oh, you want to choose? You want to choose yourself a question? Do you think this one? Do you feel like you answered this question?
Which one? The law one, is it?
Yeah.
Or if the law is good, why can't I just do the law to be acceptable to God? So
it's again the intention thing also, right?
I mean, it's not just the intention. It's more like maybe if you, as additional reading after this, you should read like Romans 7 or this. Maybe that's helpful to you. But like the law is good, but because we are by nature evil, it in fact just convicts you of sin.
Right.
Because even if there's no law, even then also you cannot obey God, right? Even just by itself, I think. But now you actually have like written laws, and also people called Israel who fail to do them, which just further convicts you. So in a sense, like the law is good, but maybe I put it this way, it's precisely because the law is good. That is why it can never save you, because you're actually very bad. Makes sense, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So that means
that's why it's precisely because it's good. That's why it can't do anything for you. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that is just how bad you are, right? Maybe that's a simple way to put it.
Right.
I think I go in more detail, but I think it's perhaps a bit out of the scope of today's text, lah. Maybe I can just give extra reference like Romans 7, Romans 2. Yeah, if that is helpful. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that means like basically the law is good to convict you of your sin, lah. That is why it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could.
It's good in exposing
I feel like okay. I mean, I feel like you want to say then make God like some.
I mean, it's good in not making you acceptable to God.
Okay, maybe
that is why it makes you dependent.
Okay, so that is one negative way of putting it. But remember that you can see in verse 17, the law is good also because it points to Christ. Yeah. So that the negative is true what you just said, but remember the positive. Actually, like it just shows you Christ, shows you the need for Him. It shows you His person. Yeah. So I think you think about it, that positive side, which is just as important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. The law is good, guys.
Okay, but Christ is enough.
Christ is enough. Law of Christ. Okay. Okay. Maybe one final one before we can break off into our reflection groups. Okay. Let me see. You want to pick another one?
Speak another one.
Yeah. Okay. The one I pick for you, right? You pick.
The
Which one do you think? Some of the questions.
some way it's quite similar.
Yeah. Okay. Similar.
Okay, maybe what were the false teachers' intentions in teaching this false Christianity? Is it because they actually think it's Christianity?
Right.
Okay, then this one I feel I know I think a lot of what is the speculation what I'm going to say because I don't think Colossians actually says it, so we can't. I mean, it's not like what I'm saying is I think 100% guaranteed lah because there could be many motivations why people do it. It could be like as I said, it could be out of like good but misplaced intentions maybe. Just like maybe they actually think what they're doing is the truth.
So they're not really conscious and aware of it.
That maybe they actually bought their own product lah, basically, right? Yeah. Or it could be that they actually knew that what they're teaching is wrong but they just didn't care. But I think maybe the deeper question behind this question is not so much why false teachers thought as Christianity, but you must think the question actually why would people believe that? You know what I mean? I think for me that is probably the more important question.
Right.
Not so much why false teachers would teach these things.
Correct.
For me that's a bit not say obvious lah, but I mean like it's either one or two things. Like either they actually believe what they're selling or they're trying to deceive people for the fun of it. Right? So it's just two options. But I think the more interesting and more better question for us to answer is actually why would people want to believe these things? Why is it that people are so naturally inclined to thinking Christ is not enough?
Right.
So, and I think I touched on it just now, but I think one thing is the novelty thing, another thing is I think people just naturally they just don't want Christ. Maybe I can put it as simply as that lah. Where it's just an addiction to self-righteousness, human achievement, and ultimately behind all that, it is putting yourself at the center. So these things like circumcision, Sabbath, and worship of angels. See, even something like worship of angels, even something like indulging the flesh, all of that really, at the end of the day, it's putting yourself at the center. That is why it is so attractive. Because when you put experience over Christ, what you are putting above Christ is not even just experience, it's actually yourself. Because you are putting your own desires, your own your own wants above what is actually the reality versus which is Jesus Christ. So for me that is why it is so attractive for people. This is why people fall for this kind of thing, because people are we all are naturally self-centered. So that's why I said this. I hope you all don't think that this is just something about. This is not like a proof text for you to say, oh, don't tell me the Harry Potter's wrong, right? This is not what is meant to be that. But I hope it shows you actually why you yourself are so likely to be deceived by these things. Yeah, I think it's more of that. I mean, for me, that'd be the application for you. Not so much how to combat false teachers 101. I mean, yeah, sure, of course, how to combat false teachers 101. That's true. But behind that is, why is it that people actually believe this stuff? Why do I believe this stuff? Because I'm actually a very self-centered person. Yeah, and I need to be aware of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Final question.
I thought.
No, because suddenly while you're
what?
talking, the number just shoots up like that. For this question, there are 7 likes.
Okay, but I feel like but this is 15 minutes ago. You know, answer.
Oh, now it's 8 likes. I mean,
oh my god.
No, I mean, okay. I think they're asking like, okay, maybe previously to what you said lah. So they are just like
following up.
Yeah, following up question like,
okay.
So can I do the practices? So I just have to make sure that they are.
No, so and I think I said this now. I mean, sure, it starts with intentions, but like, it never just remains in intentions, because like false intentions will always like manifest in actions, right? They're definitely for sure one. Yeah. So it's not about okay, I can worship angels so long as I intend correctly. That's not what the text is trying to say. It's not trying to say, oh, I can commit adultery so long as I actually love my wife. That's not what the Bible is trying to teach you. It's not just about being well-intentioned. The actual things you do actually do matter. They do matter. That's why I even think about like people. That's why in a sense it doesn't matter whether the false teachers were well-intentioned or not, right? It doesn't matter because they thought something that was wrong. It doesn't matter that that maybe they were trying to teach something that they thought could help the Colossians. The point is, they thought the people a false gospel because they themselves maybe believe a false gospel because they themselves place themselves at the center of the universe and not Jesus Christ. So it's not just about intentions. It's not just about being well intentions. Yeah. You can be well intentioned all the way going to hell. Yeah. If anything, that's what you should get from this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you can be, think about it, you can be deceived. Maybe you're just like an ignorant person. Like maybe you just don't know anything. Maybe take that person who asked about the Carol person. Right? Maybe you just like this, you just grew up your whole life not knowing the truth, right? You really didn't know any better. In that sense, like you didn't actually mean anything wrongly, like, supposedly lah. But I'm telling you, even like an ignorant person like that, a person who doesn't know anything, like I said just now, it's not just pure ignorance. It's always they put themselves first. They want to experience first. They want Jesus Christ plus something else. Yeah, that's really the heart of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay. That's it for our Q&A session. So if you guys have more questions, of course you guys can ask in the following weeks. And you guys can also ask in your groups if you want. Okay, so right now, before we break off into our reflection groups, I have an announcement to make. Not I, but Sean has an announcement to make for us. So
no, you have to tell them like what's happening next week first, right?
Okay. Oh yeah, okay, wait. I thought I wanted to tell that.
And when we are meeting again.
Okay, never mind. Okay, I'll tell that. Okay, next week we are not gonna meet for Solid Online on Monday, because of whatever Sean is gonna tell us. I mean, it's on FWC, like you guys know, right?
Okay. I mean, yeah. So I think most of them were here last week, and I talked about the Fellow Workers Conference. Okay, now I'm not speaking as speaker. I'm speaking as a partner of the Gospel Gold Fellow. Put the slides as well, lah.
Yeah. Slides.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he's the director for FWC 2024. So
yeah. The slides is there? I can't see lah.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's there. Okay.
Okay, let me show you from my screen.
So maybe show you so I can see that because it's a bit difficult for me to see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nah.
Oh yeah. So hi, my name is Sean. I'm so I'm the director for this conference. I think most of you were here last week, so you remember what I'm saying. So I think following on from whatever the talk was about and today's text, right? I hope even more you go to the topic for this year. Even more you want to go for this year's Fellow Workers Conference especially because it's on the topic of preaching, right? You might think that preaching is just for pastors and everything, but I think especially from Colossians, right? You realize actually, what people teach that actually affects you, right? Preaching does affect you. So I hope at the very least you've gotten that, right? We have as Christians, Christ is enough, but that doesn't mean, as I said, Christ is enough means you must thirst for Him, right? You must be willing to defend Him, just like Paul is trying to do, right? We have a duty to keep watch over the faithfulness of our churches, right? Many of us may not end up preaching, but I think all forms of other word ministry, whether it's doing one-on-ones or like just speaking to your mom about what Jesus Christ is, who Jesus Christ is, all of it runs parallel to preaching. So that's why you should show the title for the conference, lah. Yeah. That's why I would highly recommend. So this is the artwork. That's why I would definitely recommend going for this conference, lah. So going for this, but I just want to clarify, going for this conference is not Christ plus. It's not Christ plus anything, but rather I think like if you actually believe Christ is enough, right? And I personally benefited from this conference a lot. This I think is my favorite conference among all the GGF conferences. If you believe Christ is enough and you're thirsting for Him, and you want to find out how to be like Paul, maybe, I think this is a great one to go for. Based on whatever you said. So I think this is something I didn't say last week, but this year at FWC you can choose from 14 different strands. What are the strands?
The strands.
So strands are not like electives. So electives are like 1 hour things where you just do it for 1 hour. But strands is where it's your group that you're gonna be with. So you're basically gonna be with that group for the whole conference, right? So there'll be talks and there'll be strands. So the strands are meant they're places for you to think, learn and apply whatever you've learned from the talks into your respective ministry context lah. So there are 14 here. They're quite a lot. You can only pick one, which is sad. I think I would at least go for 5 if I wanted to, but I can't go for any because I'm the director. Yeah. So maybe I'll give you my top 3, which I think might be suitable for people that saw it online lah. Okay. So I think the first one definitely would be biblical interpretation. So actually song is leading that. So that one probably be my topic for you lah. Especially in light of what we learned today, right? People may have many different interpretations of the Bible. They might even be well intentioned, but well intentions don't count for anything. So I think in that case, you better get what the Bible is saying correctly. Right? So that's why my topic for you. Second one is one-on-one discipleship. I think as students in Solid, some all of you from different universities especially, you should be upping your discipleship game lah, and just learning to grow God's kingdom. So I think this can be very helpful for you. Third one is actually women. Okay? I mean, I'm not a woman. This is not a topic for me, but like I'm just saying, since I'm seeing a lot of women here, men.
Men can't
No,
do
there's no men's stand. Sorry,
Okay,
there's only fatherhood stand.
Okay, since there's no men
Yeah.
topic, so men can go for women or not?
Yeah, actually can actually.
Oh, is
No,
it
yeah.
only restricted for women?
No, actually you can go for women if you want to.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Oh my god.
But must have like reason lah. Okay, don't like go for wrong reason you want to go there. I will have to see through all the reasons.
No, I want to understand women.
Really, huh? Okay.
Okay, it's difficult.
Yeah. So definitely the women's stand is another topic for you.
Oh,
lah.
okay.
Yeah, these 3. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You can go to the. There's no time for me to explain each and every strand now. But you can go to our website. Someone can send the link and you can find out more. Yeah. So we won't be meeting for Solid next week, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll be at this conference from the 25th to 27th January, which is from Thursday to Saturday, right?
Thursday to Saturday, yes.
And we'll be back at Solid when?
On 29th of January, which is the following week of Monday lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like what Sean said. So next week we won't be meeting because Solid Online will be at FWC physically. Okay. So I hope you guys will. There's still time to sign up. And also, please invite your friends, if possible, and bring them along. Yep. So, having said that, right now we can break off into our smaller groups for reflection session. So, end in your own groups. So, remember, guys, see you guys next week and also the week after. See you guys next week at FWC, and then see you guys in the following week as Solid Online.
Alright.
On Monday. So
Bye.
take care,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Bye. See you.
Bye.